Hello, this is History in the Shadows. Subscribe for Myths Lost Divines. Today, we journey into the dark corners of ancient mythology. Beyond Zeus, beyond Osiris, beyond Odin. This is about the gods history forgot. Deities of darkness, whispers, poison, and old age. Gods who haunted the edges of culture but shaped human imagination. The gods we forget when you think of mythology, you think of thunderbolts, sun gods, and mother goddesses. But ancient cultures also worshipped or feared beings who ruled over forgotten domains. The lost, the aged, the whispered rumor, the creeping night. These gods rarely appear in epic poems. They hide in side notes of ancient texts, in broken statues, in fragments of clay tablets. Yet they reveal what people truly feared. Not just war and storm, but silence, obscurity, and time itself. Anagolay, the goddess of lost things from the Philippines, comes Anagolay. She was invoked when objects disappeared, when necklaces slipped away, when family heirlooms were misplaced, when hunters lost their way in forests. In a world without maps, without clocks, losing something meant disaster. Anagolay embodied the human desperation to recover what is gone. She is not a goddess of war or love, but of the overlooked everyday panic, the search for what has vanished. Her name, nearly erased by colonial chronicles, survives only in fragments. But every time we search for something in vain, Anagolay's shadow lingers. Pheme, the personification of rumor, the Greeks feared not just swords but whispers. Pheme, sometimes called Phama in Roman tradition, was rumor incarnate. She spread whispers like wildfire, growing louder the more she was heard. Hesiod describes her as impossible to silence once she starts. She could ruin reputations, destroy alliances, topple heroes. In a city-state where politics was survival, rumor was as deadly as poison. Pheme reminds us that the ancients understood the power of gossip centuries before social media. Empusa, the shape-shifting demoness Greek mythology, also knew monsters hidden in plain sight. Empusa, a servant of Hecate, terrified travelers. She shifted forms, sometimes a beautiful woman, sometimes a beast. Her most haunting detail, one bronze leg, one donkey's leg, a grotesque hybrid meant to unsettle. Empusa's power lay in seduction and fear. She would lure men with beauty, then devour them. She is the nightmare behind the trope of the femme fatale, the shadow that says beauty can kill. Kauket, the goddess of darkness from Egypt's endless pantheon, comes Kauket, the female aspect of primordial darkness. Alongside her male counterpart Kek, she ruled the chaos before creation. Kauket was not evil, but she was the night itself, a reminder of the unknown lurking before dawn. In a land defined by the sun's rhythm, darkness was more than absence. It was a power, a domain, a force with its own divinity. Every Egyptian who prayed for sunrise was acknowledging Kauket's grip on the world. Inaginid, the poison goddess of Sudan from Sudanese traditions, comes Inaginid, a goddess of poison. Warrior tribes invoked her in battle, asking her to strike enemies with unseen venom. Her cult was feared, for poison was the coward's weapon. The unseen strike, the delayed death. But it was also the most effective equalizer. Inaginid represents the dread of invisible threats, the fear that death lurks in the cup, in the wound, in the air. Geras, the god of old age, perhaps the most unsettling god of all, was Geras, the Greek god of aging. Unlike gods of youth or vitality, Geras offered no comfort. He was inevitable. He appeared in vase paintings as a shriveled old man confronting mighty heroes. Even Heracles could not escape his touch. The ancients personified old age not as wisdom but as a god of decay. To see Geras was to see your own end approaching. The lesson of the forgotten gods. Why do these gods matter? Because they reveal the fears ancient people could not escape. Losing objects, losing reputation, losing youth, facing darkness, facing unseen poison. The forgotten gods show us the raw nerves of human existence. They were never meant to inspire glory, they were meant to remind us of fragility. Today, These deities are nearly lost, scattered in obscure references. But they mattered. They show us that ancient mythology was not just about great battles and shining heroes. It was about the shadows in the corner, the dread in the heart. Comment your take, share, and subscribe. Because here, in the shadows of history, the gods we forget are sometimes the ones who tell us the most about ourselves.